directions. They're not 180 degrees because the Russians still do some bad stuff. If the Russians did all the evil stuff our government's doing, they'd be aligned with them. And Russia isn't perfect, but Russia is not committing suicide, okay? And we shouldn't commit suicide, and Europe shouldn't commit suicide, and nobody else should commit suicide. The globalists have destabilized the Middle East, they've destabilized Latin America, they've destabilized Asia, and all these other countries and regions and continents. They're playing the third world off against the first world. The third world's not our enemy, but they're being mobilized into a political, economic structure that will bring us down. The taxes, the migration flows, everything is geared and pointed at making us subservient and breaking us. And the article goes on, we need to judge President Putin by his deeds, on his work. He has invaded Georgia, he has invaded the Crimea, he has invaded Ukraine, he has used force and gotten away with it, the retired general told BBC. And that lines up with our generals calling for war and body bags. And the truth is that in 2008, NATO-backed Georgian troops on record, that's indisputable, attacked Ossetia, South Ossetia, and Abkhazia, and killed thousands of people, wiped out whole Russian UN bases in that demilitarized zone that's been part of Russia for 1,000 years. They killed everybody, and the Russians poured across and pushed them back. And our media ran the hoax saying Russia had invaded. It was totally false. And then I was called a Russian agent by mainstream media for just reporting the facts. Then they go on to say he's invaded Crimea. Well, that's always been part of Russia. They've had a bunch of wars over it. Half of Crimea has been part of Russia. They have longstanding problems killing each other. I'm not taking a side, the Catholics versus the Orthodox, but that's what the State Department manipulated with the anthropology and the psychology and created that overthrow that started all that. So Russia had to come in and take control of its gas delivery systems to Europe, its main money. So the West started that. And Russia didn't take all of Crimea. They took part of eastern Crimea. So what do you expect Russia to do when you start seizing Russian infrastructure that's on its border? I mean, what would we do if the Russians were in Mexico and we're overthrowing the Mexican government and then we're moving troops up to our border? I guarantee you we would attack them. And so there is a proxy war going on right now with Russia. That's how insane all this is. And if the globalists are crazy enough to push their different rebel forces in these different former Russian republics up against Russia, Russia is going to respond. And then if the West sends in armor, Russia is going to use nuclear weapons and has said they would. Tactical nuclear weapons. Then NATO says they're going to start hitting Russian bases. Then Russia is going to fire and start hitting U.S. bases. And then they start attacking the major city centers. Because you know, a lot of big U.S. military bases are stuck right in the middle of cities. By the way, almost no one else does that. But because of our frontier system, most of our cities were formerly military bases when we were having western expansion and taking over from the native tribes. So it's not been done on purpose that most of our military bases are right in the middle of cities, but it's a major strategic problem because they're going to get hit. And that means you're going to get hit, and your family's going to get hit. And by the way, top generals across the board worldwide, you can just search engine, Ministry of Defense, Pentagon, Chairman Joint Chiefs say the world's in the most dangerous position it's ever been. The world is the most unstable it's ever been. And then we've got Obama running around saying it's the best it's ever been and our economy is the best it's ever been. He also said Obamacare was going to be free. He also said nobody was coming after your guns. He also just lies to you. These people are out to get us. I have analyzed what they're doing. It doesn't even help their interest. They are crazy. So we're going to continue breaking all of this down after the break. Just to briefly recap what's happening. We saw the Metrojet back in October 31st of last year blown up minutes after it took off from Cairo. And, of course, jihadis took responsibility for that, showed video of them shooting it down. Our own media wouldn't say jihadis did it because it was against the Russians, because our own sickening elite are allied with the jihadis. It's just a fact. I can't even believe it. It's totally insane. Who's the guy that wrote Triple Cross? I debated him on Coast to Coast AM and thought he was wrong, that it was a triple cross, and that radical Muslims had infiltrated the government and made a deal, and I thought he was wrong. I think he's right now to a certain extent. I want to get that guy on. Continuing, London Guardian, another Egypt Air flight, MS-804. They think it was people inside the plane. The pilot is the main suspect, and people inside the Paris flight center that's basically run by radical Muslims. Terrorism more likely than technical failure is what they're reporting. London Guardian, obviously. Russian FSB boss says Egypt air crash, probably terrorism. Yeah, I think so. Egypt air crash, religion of peace strikes again. Paul Watson, Infowars.com. French intelligence warned the country was clearly being targeted by ISIS and was at risk of a new form of attack a week before Paris flight to Egypt. The globalists are going to allow these people to attack. It's going to get worse and worse, like Donald Trump and myself and countless others have said. And when they do attack, they're going to tell us we've got to give up more liberties. No, that's not the answer. Separately, folks, we are running a bunch of different specials right now where you can get massive deals on a lot of the nutraceuticals at InfoWarsLife.com. There are so many specials there on the site that I want to encourage you to simply go there and look it up for yourself. But with all this uncertainty going on and all the problems that are happening and the leaking reactors and just the breakdown of civilization accelerating, now is the time to get Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. But look, I don't take it for just thyroid health because of increased isotopes so that my thyroid's full of good stuff and I don't get the isotopes. It's also because of the fluoride and the other bad halogens that are everywhere. That's what I really don't want because I know that's in the environment. That's everywhere. And I know that once my thyroid and other glands are operating properly, I'm going to have more energy, more stamina. It's incredible. This is like not having oil in your, oil tank in your car and wondering why it's clattering. If you don't have iodine, you die. And Survival Shield X2 is the purest, cleanest, best, most absorbable iodine that anybody's ever come up with. It's the best we can bring you. It is the industry leader. It is a game changer. 20% off, a super good special we're running while supplies last. It is selling very quickly. It stores for a long time. It's great to give friends and family. Just because you know how great it is and have given it 5-star reviews at InfoWarsLife.com, why don't you give it to other people or educate them about iodine? This is so important. Don't keep these secret to yourselves. They don't want us to know that they're flooding our environment with bad halogens, that this is the only good halogen that your body operates off of. It's as vital as vitamin C or oxygen. You've absolutely got to have it or you die, and most people are deficient, and they're lowering the levels more and more, telling us we don't need it because it turns us into moron-addled idiots. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2, a record 20% off at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Vitamin Mineral Fusion is back in as well. Find out what true organic or absorbable products like this do. Find out how it'll change your life. I'm sure it is coincidence, but they admit that they're foreign hackers, our own government and others are hacking into the leading candidates' computers. That was in the Associated Press yesterday. But the jihadi groups up the line are controlled by globalist crime syndicates similar to the James Bond syndicate Spectre. In fact, before those books were even written by Ian Fleming, OSS and others described these different criminal networks as a hydra. And, of course, that's the symbol of Spectre. Going back to Greek mythology, the symbol of evil organizations, things that are hard to beat, things that have multiple heads, and, hard to find the heart would be a hydra. But it's interesting that when Donald Trump came on in December, and that was meant to blow up in the media and meant to have them attack him and make him obviously look more grassroots, more radical, because he is, and was a hat tip to all the patriots. You had that shooting with that sleeper cell out in San Bernardino the next morning. We were in thousands of papers, biggest story out there. All his talking points were about to be forced into the media because they think they're, defeating him with it. And then the shooting happened. I don't think that was done to cover that up. But I tell you this, it is bad timing. Trump waits. He gets ready. He's super angry. According to Stone and others, he comes out on Hannity and he talks about Bill Clinton settling rape cases. At least 3 of them. Women alleging rape. Those women have come out and said, yes, he raped me. DrudgeReport.com has amazing coverage of it right now. So does Infowars.com, but Drudge's is really full coverage and easy to see. But I do want to commend Hannity for his courage to come out and actually, Hannity is the best on Fox News now. hands down, he's better than Beck ever was. I've had some problems with Hannity in the past. He said some things about me that aren't true, but I'll turn the other cheek. Hannity, believe me, is getting challenged behind the scenes, I know for a fact. Hannity's really doing a great job, and so hats off to Sean Hannity, big time, for doing that. Now, there's the Drudge headline. Trump drops R word on Clinton. Huge, huge, huge. Because how dare them have the Democratic Party system try to blame Trump and say that because he hit on women, you know, at cocktail parties when he wasn't married, or told a girlfriend in the 1980s, you might want to lose some weight for that bathing suit. I mean, I've had family tell me, hey, those jeans are a little too tight, or, you know, hey, you're gaining some weight there. I mean, that's just what you do to help people. But turned out he didn't even do that. So you got Lolita Express, pedophile planes, pedophile islands Clinton's going to, Epstein, all this stuff, and then Clinton's got this huge record of being a sex addict, cocaine head, raping people, all these murders in his background, Vince Foster, Ron Brown, on and on. They got the nerve to do this, so Trump doubles down. There are these people not fighting back. There are these folks laying down. Well, Trump didn't lay down. And he brought up the R word, and I got to say, the fact that Fox let this on, I guarantee you Hannity had to really threaten to leave, because I know he's threatened to leave Fox, by the way. That's come out, but I remember hearing about beforehand if they didn't let him say what he wants. So Hannity is acting like a man. That's a good thing. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Is done. How big an issue should that be in the campaign? For example, I looked at the New York Times. Are they going to interview Juanita Broderick? Are they going to interview Paula Jones? Are they going to interview Kathleen Willey? In one case, it's about exposure. In another case, it's about groping and fondling and touching against a woman's will.
And rape.
And rape.
And big settlements, massive settlements.
$850,000 for Paula Jones.
And lots of other things. And
now, again, there's a longer clip of that coming up. Paul Watson will play the longer clip. I played the longer clip earlier in the broadcast today. But there, the rape word from Sean Hannity, the rape word from Donald Trump, massive settlements, women saying rape. And I've interviewed 4 of the women that he's reportedly raped, allegedly raped, 3 of them that settled. Okay? And what he does is he gets you in there and he bites you on the lip and holds it there, threatening you. And while he's biting you, going, listen here, like a ventriloquist, don't you try to move. And then he rapes you. So it's the power. It's the power they want. It's the control. We'll be right back. I'm Alex Jones. Paul Watson coming up. Infowars.com.
We are back. It's the third hour of the Alex Jones Show, and I'll be sitting in for Alex while he takes care of some business, and that's an opportunity for me to speak to Gavin McInnes, who many of you have wanted to appear on the show for quite some time. In fact, I was scheduled to appear on his show. That's going to happen sometime in the near future. Of course, he's the co-founder of Vice Media and now doing excellent work with Rebel Media. And what's interesting is that he did another interview with Jesse Hughes, the singer of the Eagles of Death Metal, who, of course, were playing at the Bataclan Theatre there in Paris as the Paris massacre went down. And in this interview, it was very interesting because Jesse Hughes basically came out and reaffirmed what he had said, the claims he had made from his own eyewitness experience in the first place. You remember that he was forced to recant and apologize by Rolling Stone for claiming that Muslim security had foreknowledge of the attack, that they allowed the attackers in, and that in the aftermath of this attack, there were Muslims out on the street celebrating the massacre of over 200 people, which, of course, we saw in Brussels after the attacks there on the metro station and the airport. So Jesse Hughes, who, of course, did a ton of interviews in the aftermath of the atrocity in November, was later forced to recant, to back down, to apologize. But now he's come back and made the same claims. So we're going to get into that with Gavin McInnes. We're going to get into his latest video. And basically the war on social justice warrior insanity and how we're winning it. We're going to talk about Salon.com giving a platform yet again to their resident pedophile, Todd Nickerson, saying that we should be proud of pedophiles because they've done so well not to molest children. Meanwhile, being completely ashamed of the fact that, for example, we're white. Again, pushing this dual narrative. We're going to get into that. But of course, we had the tragic downing, it appears, of the Egypt air flight late last night. BBC News reports Egypt air crash, plane wreckage found near Greek island. They're now starting to uncover some of that debris. But every single expert came out in the immediate aftermath of this and basically said, yeah,